Hey, good morning, everybody. It is 10:16 on December 16. I've been out here for a little bit. Didn't jump straight to the camera. I went and was buried. I got to pull all this brush out of it and junk. But this is what I'm going to use for the concrete pad and wall for the wood stove in the house. Went and got some tools. It rained a lot yesterday, so Val had yesterday off, and we did a date day where we spent some time together. That was very nice, very necessary. Out here is foggy. Not actually super cold, but you feel cold anyhow. And it's like mid-40s. We're back in the house. The house is a mess again. I need to clean it up, but a little bit harder to do so. So I went and bought 2 more bags of high-strength concrete mix and 1 more bag of crack resistant. I don't know how many it's going to take, but we're doing close to 4 inches tall here. But that might be including that 1/4 inch of backer board. Then I went and bought 1/2 inch backer board today as well. And that's going to be what's going to go on the wall. I'm going to mount that today. I'm just going to take pictures of this to show the county that I've already put the insulation in. Hopefully they'll be cool with that and that they don't have to see it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's done. But this will get us to a point we can start work on that. Yeah, so that's where we're at. It's easier to get going these days because this stuff is all doable and I feel like I'm managing fine. Oh, I also bought 1 more thing of insulation. I threw that down there. So I'll do another bag of insulation today as well. Everything is doable. It's just a little bit on the cool side when you first get here. It's cold in the house and brr kind of thing. But once I get going, then I'll be fine. All right, let's get to work. All right, guys, basically every new day that I start, I go ahead, I take one of my cleaning rags. This is, those things that I get from Home Depot, I forget what the name of what they are, but they're for everything. This one's kind of a citrusy smelling thing, and I just go inside everything that's touched my face and stuff. These filters in here seem to be okay. I mean, I took them out and looked at them. They probably, if I had a little air compressor or something, I'd probably blow them out a little bit, but they look pretty good. I don't know how long they're good for, but I just make sure I get what I can around here. I think that helps a little bit. Then I'll let it sit for a minute and dry. And the first couple of whiffs are pretty pleasant with the citrus. That way I don't have fiberglass against my face. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's at least some red dirt from here, or I don't know what it is, but there's some stuff that comes off. No, that's not going to be against my face. All right, back to work. Because I didn't really film anything today, but we started about here. I know some of this looks kind of yucky, but it's like, it kills me to sacrifice a whole piece to fill in these little things. So I usually do the big ones, and then some of these smaller ones, things are left over, and I just cram them into these little ones. It didn't look pretty, but eventually it's all be covered with drywall, so who cares? I don't know if that passes code or not, because it's not a complete water barrier or whatever. Maybe they're going to make me do something, I don't know. But if they don't, I'm fine with it. And so we made it all the way over here into the closet. I got 1 strip right here, but I decided to use my full strip here instead of sacrificing it here. Then tomorrow I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bats. And then that's a piece of a bat there. That's narrow. Maybe between that piece and this piece, cutting them in half, they'll fit into both of those. The closet's going to be the easiest thing because it's actually the bats are all going to fit perfectly and I don't have to cut anything. It's all this stuff, like little pieces. It just drives me nuts. Almost none of this is 16 on center. And it just works out that way because you do everything 16 on center and then you fill things in that are for code. You got to add this and then you got to add this. I don't know. It's a mess. Anyway, we're working our way around. Tomorrow maybe I'll get up into this room at least I'm thinking about measuring this all off today. We'll see. Measuring this all off to be able to put backer board all over, because we'll be doing tile in here. All right, on to the next project. I think is going to be getting backer board up here on the wall. All right, guys, I don't know if this is a big no-no or not, but I'm just cutting my cement board with the same blade I've been cutting wood with. It seems to work fine. I don't think it's ruining it too much. This is only 1/2 inch thick. The other was 1/4 inch thick. It works pretty good. Alright guys, it's probably silly and doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm giving myself just a tiny bit more support. I'm just putting these 1x4s in here with that finish nailer. It just gives a little bit more something for it to nail into, screw into. I don't know if it's going to do much or not. I'm putting this backer board up against this, but it's not going on this. So it only has this and this. So it wasn't really much support over here on the edge. Like I said, it might not do much. Not making a big chore out of it, with the insulation already being in there. I didn't want to like cut 2x4s in there and cut everything out, because I don't think it's like super necessary anyway. I think it's going to be strong enough because I'm going to have this piece go to here, and then I'm going to cut the other piece to go from here to here. And when you join the whole thing together and it's concrete the whole way, I think it'll be fine. But just in case. I'm putting a couple of screws in here, but one thing I've learned is that sometimes I don't always know what's ahead, and I might change my mind or need to redo something. So I'm going to put minimal nails in just so it holds, and then just in case I come along something and say, oh, I should have done this or that, and I got to take it back off, at least it's not too much. I forgot to put anything in that stud over there. I didn't know where it was. I was just now standing here looking at it. I was like, oh boy, where's that stud? But I think I put one right here, and that's going into the stud that's going up and down. Like I said, I'm just putting a few right now, and then I'll really chock it full to give it good support when everything's up. All right, guys, every once in a while we have a very close call. Oh man, I'm a little bit nauseous just thinking about it. So I cut this board all the way across, but I stopped right here and I let go of it, and I walked around because I was going to pick it up and go this way with it, which I often do. But this piece fell and cracked off, and I was frustrated because now I don't have a nice edge right here. So I came over here, turned it around, and there was this piece was hanging here because that's what broke off from that spot. I put the saw down, and I don't know how this happened, but my glove, I guess, was loose or somehow got a hold of my glove, and it ripped my finger right into it. Now, I'm not going to show you the gory details. Luckily, we just did, it's not deep. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's only Band-Aid worthy, but it's freaking me out a little bit. But it got a hold of my glove and ripped my hand right into the blade, and I didn't even know what happened. It happened so fast. So I'm going to take a little break, stop for a minute, take a deep breath, and then we'll keep going. I've thought once in a while I'm doing this project how far I've gotten along, and I haven't really I've been dealing with nail guns and saws and all that stuff, and how fortunate I've been. I haven't had any, major accidents or anything, but it is dangerous. And I think this might be a little worse than I think it is, but it might have went a little deeper than I think it did, but it didn't go to like bone or anything, even though it kind of hurts. But it looks like it's just fairly shallow there. But it got a hold of my hand, or hold of that glove, and ripped it right in. Ooh, scary. Interesting how things don't come out even when you measure them. First of all, obviously my cuts with the skill type saw, or whatever they call that, doesn't come out always great. But I measure, from here, and see I missed a little bit of that, but I can scoot that over a little bit. But what's amazing is this and this, But I also know that the house is a little bit must be off, because when I come here, this is perfectly square. So I measured fairly right, cut fairly right. It's just studs are off a slight smidgen. I think it'll be okay, not a big deal. It's just going to be cement going in there. I might caulk with something that cement adheres to, and just fill this in and make it solid. All right, guys, we've moved on from the close call. Luckily, I'm one of those people, I don't sit there and focus on it. It takes me a second to get over it, and then I'm not going to sit there and ponder on it or freak out or let that ruin my day. Starting my forms for the wall. Put 3 on the board before I put it up, so I can not mess with them. It's the little things you forget. I randomly just put them in spots and forgot that there's nothing to screw into right there. One thing I've learned long ago already on this, building this house, is use screws, especially when something's temporary. Don't want to be banging nails out. And of course, the deck screws are made for, well, I don't know if they're made for it, but these stars go in and out pretty easy and keep lasting. Sometimes things work out perfectly and sometimes they don't. Unfortunately, I have to put in little things here at the bottom. And what I don't like about that is that now we'll have a little gap between these, and that'll show in the cement. I'm going to do my best to get them as even as possible, and then maybe even fill in with some caulking there, so hopefully it's like a solid piece. I guess worst case scenario, it doesn't come out perfect. I have my oscillating tool with cement blades, that masonry blades that I could just shave stuff off and clean it up. So this is where a lot of times a chop saw comes in handy, because you can get a little bit more accurate. I don't know. With Rogers, it's still sometimes a slight angle, slightly off, but these circular saws, you never get in a great cut. I didn't test these. I didn't want it to be make myself look good by keep trimming them. Just wanted to see if I got it. Nope. So this one was a 7 3/4. It was just a slight. I put a little bit extra on it just in case. So it looks like I do need to cut a little bit more off. I'm actually pretty happy with that. That's snug as a bug in a rug right there. Get that even and we probably won't have much of a mark. I like it. Let's see how we turned out on the other one. Ooh. See? That's pretty good too, but I could have cut it a little bit. Oh, here we go. That'll work a little better. That one's a little bit loosey-goosey, but it is what it is. Still not bad. Pretty doggone even. Like I said, I'll probably have to take the oscillating tool and trim it a little bit. It's all right. First things first, I've used this when I was actually putting mesh down for the footers on the porch here. And I'd cut a small piece there. So I want to cut this all the way even so it's straight. Alright, this is the deal. This thing is 6 foot tall. And I was hoping to put it just the other way, like across, but that's only 46.5 inches, I think, or something around there. So basically what I'm going to have to do is roll this out and then measure the 46 or whatever it is. And then, because it's 6 foot tall, cut this way, put 6 foot up, and then do it again and 6 foot this way, and then that's the plan. Takes a while. These are definitely better than the wire cutters that I used before doing it. But probably like one of those little saws that go that cuts metal. I don't have one of those. I've got a lot of tools, but I don't have one of those. I wouldn't really need it for much except this. Alright, so I'm going to go in there and measure that again just to make sure, and then start cutting this. So what I did is I backed the tractor up, tilted the bucket, made a little bit of a holder there. And I measured up 46.5 inches, and that's what I'm doing. Okay guys, before I get this mesh up here, I don't know if it matters much or not, but I want to fill in the cracks between all the backer board there. It probably doesn't matter, but I don't want to take a chance in case it does matter. So I knew I had some kind of caulking in the shed that sounds like it would probably work. This is for interior use. It's a liquid nails with a strong durable bond. Bonds most common building materials. And it says it bonds to wood, corkboard, drywall, and hardboard. Paneling, particle board, treated lumber, and more. So I think this will be a good interior. Doesn't need to be painted, so it doesn't have to be anything special. It says, and I read in the directions, it does masonry stuff and brick. So I think this is probably going to be a good thing to use. I had this generic stuff that I was using on everything, but I didn't think that I don't want to waste it on that. This is white and works really well on everything else that I got going on outside, and it's paintable and all that. So, well, come on. There we go. One day I was at Tractor Supply and I needed to get some stuff, and I just decided to buy a variety of all the caulkings in case I needed them, and it's kind of paying off. Most caulk guns have that little piece of metal that you can poke down in there, but this one doesn't have it. So I usually take a nail, puncture it, then I'll use that nail also to plug it when I'm done. Okay, as I'm sealing this up and stuff, the one thing I haven't done yet is I haven't finished putting more screws in. I just put the minimum. And part of that is I'm playing things by ear and just kind of doing things as I go along. When I put the screen mesh up, I want to have some of the screws not going in all the way, and the mesh is going to hang on the screws. I believe that's how I want to do it. Valentina told me the one thing she would like when she does this is that the screen is secure. But I don't really know how to secure it to anything. Like, you can't secure it to the forms, because then when you go to take the forms off, you're going to break all that concrete because it'll be connected. In my opinion, that's what my thought is. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm thinking, so I'm not going to do that. That's the only way I can think of. It's not going to be super secure to there, but it's going to be kind of hanging on the screws. And then if she doesn't like that, then I'm not quite sure what's another plan. We'll figure something out. And what I've kind of figured out, or read, is that pretty much you always start with the floor first. So we'll do the floor first, and then we'll work our way up the wall after this is dry. I need a shop vac. I believe Bryn has one. It's actually my old one. So I'll be cleaning that up before I put securing that too much. I would like to put my mesh down in there, but it's too dirty in my opinion right now. I generally don't overdo it on nails and screws and stuff. I maybe err on the side of not putting enough. This I'm not taking a chance. This will be having concrete on it and attached to this wall. So I put a lot of screws in here. Hopefully that's not a bad thing. Hopefully that's a good thing. At first I was just putting here and there, and I thought, nope, this needs to be solid and hold really well. So that was the thinking. Now I'm going to put some screws, and I'm going to test this and put the wire up there and maybe some screws halfway out. I just want to get all the ones in that are going to be holding this first. So initially I was using the green screws, which are the ones made for the backer board. But then I was like, oh, it's not going in. So, I mean, it went in, but it's just basically this mesh is only going to be barely hanging on these screws. So then I went with the 3-inch, my longer deck screws that are 3-inch, most of them. And I thought, oh, I'll just kind of hang it on there. But it was still popping off and kind of, I don't know, it was doing weird stuff. Then I got my 18 gauge that I've been hanging sheetrock with, and I'm like, oh, let me just try this. And I think that actually worked better. I didn't want the mesh hanging, I didn't want it smack dab smashed against the wall. And where the staples are, they are against the wall. But then other spots like this are not against the wall. So I'm thinking I'll go around and hit just enough, to get this stuff against the wall in certain spots, but then it's a little bit bubbly and some of it's off of the wall, and I think that'll be good enough. And I may end up just taking all these screws back out, or I can just leave them. The thing is, The iffy thing about this is I think we're only going to come out about 1.5 inches. So we can't come, I mean, if they're not sticking out 1.5 inches off of the thing, then we're fine and they'll be buried in the concrete. But something like this, that's more than 1.5 inches probably, or about. I mean, I put them at angles, but anyway, it's the evolution of ideas as I go along here. I feel like that worked better. All right, guys, what I'm going to do now is secure these beams to each other so it doesn't spread when cement's in it. I don't think it's going to spread because pressure's going to be down, not across, but just in case. All right, so I got 2 on there. I might want to put down here another one since it's more weight going to be here, but I did put something at the base too on every side. So I put the screen. I don't know how well you can see this mesh. I didn't affix this one to the ground because I want to be able to pull this up as we're pouring it. And that way it'll be up a little bit off. And like I said, I did this screen here. I don't know how well you can see it or not. But I think it should work pretty good. Like I said, enough of it is off. It's just where it's stapled that is it's really against. But the rest of it's off enough that I think that will do the job. I'll probably take those yellow screws out. Valentina tells me, yep, we don't need those yellow screws, then I might just take those out. It's getting on close to sun going down. It's almost 4:30, so by the time I clean up and put everything away, I think it'll be getting close to dark. So I'm going to go ahead and start that now. All right, guys, 4:45. Wrapped it all up, ready to go home. It is supposed to rain tomorrow. Not sure if we're going to make it out here because Valentina's off tomorrow too. Sometimes we don't come out and work in the rain when it's raining and we're both off, but we'll see. That is set up for us to do the cement or the concrete, and I have that all ready to go. It's just a matter of trial and error and mixing it and having enough water hopefully and pouring that base. Make sure, and hopefully it turns out good, but we'll see. Anyway, I got plenty to do in that house. If we're coming out tomorrow, we will see you the next time we're out here.